I have got a PhD in life. I'm spending my whole weekend in my pajamas and I'm not doing shit. You don't pay my bills or suck my dick. So like, what do I care what some random person on the internet thinks of me? And new year, new me, you gotta have some fun. God, Tim, everything you touch just like is amazing. And I want to tell that person, no the fuck it's not. I'm only trying to make one fucking person happy, and that's Tim Castleman.
All right. Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to cover this or not, but why the fuck not? Apparently, I'm like, I don't want this to turn into a therapy podcast, and apparently that might be what it's turning into a little bit. Okay, calm down. We'll still talk about business stuff. Still got some stuff I want to discuss then. But did have a question sent in from a lady and a friend. And I, instead of having to write the world's longest email, I'm just going to record response in podcast form. So I'll be sending it to them. But I want to share it with you because I think it could be a real blessing, to quote my what? He's nothing to me. To quote the comedian Tim Dillon, who I just listened to on a podcast. It was hilarious. One of the funniest comedians out there. So here is the message I got via the social media sphere. How the fuck can you tell a grown-ass adult that their action ABC negatively affects you by XYZ, and you tell them multiple times, and finally, when you had it by the 10th time and cut them off, they say, sorry, I didn't know. Like, no, you just didn't care. Big difference. And yet I found myself explaining this to a 45-year-old female friend. What the actual fuck? Well, person X, who I will not be naming, I understand exactly where you come from. I understand exactly where your line of thinking is and was. And I can tell you, as someone that is, what the fuck? Did I just, hold on, guys. I got to reach down and make sure. Okay. Yep. Balls, testicles, spectacles, still there. Okay. Sorry. I think I might be getting my period. I almost just had a moment there where I was going to be like, I'm a recovering narcissistic person. Look, I had some narcissistic tendencies, and it turns out when you're only worried about you and you and you alone, you don't see other people's warning signs in action. You just don't see shit. And other people are like, how can you be so fucking oblivious? And you're like, well, here's how. So, story time with Uncle Tim, right? 2010s, 12s, areas around there. I don't want to get too specifics on dates and stuff like that. When I'm dating my ex-wife, I'm making like $36,000 a year. I'm not a good employee. I'm bitter. I'm angry, but I don't give a fuck about this job because I'm leaving it. This is a stepping stone. Why should I care what my coworkers think and say about me? Why should I care what my boss thinks about me? I'm smarter than them. And guess what? I am, and I was in my brain because fuck, I got out and I started doing my own thing, and bam, wouldn't you know, it just fucking blew up. Within 6 months, I'm talking on stages, and I'm seen as somebody in the industry that 6 months ago didn't even know my name. I got one of the greatest mentors ever in Jason Fladlin. I'm using his shit. It's working. I'm telling him it's working. He's putting me on stages, telling people it's working. Oh, by the way, check out my shit as well. I mean, it's just crazy how things went. Here I am thinking it's all me. I'm God's gift to internet marketing. It wasn't. I'm making real accomplishments. Wasn't. Like, again, I talked about this in previous podcasts, but to keep these standalone, I have a real problem with what I call finish line thinking. It's like, okay, I want to get down to the weight of 180. I get down to that weight, 180, bam, hit it. Then it's like, well, let's have a carb and blow right the fuck back up, because to me, that's the finish line instead of the real finish line, which should be like, hey, I'm eating healthy. I'm maintaining a healthy weight. I'm doing, I'm walking X number of days a week. I'm weight training X number of days a week, or, whatever it may be. But my dumbass can only see 2 feet ahead of me, which is smart. But other times it's like, hey, dumbass, you haven't done anything. I'm over here having Oprah type of problems. I'm not even like Oprah. Oprah probably got help that makes more money than me. Oprah probably got a family member that's getting a ghost check that's made more money than me, not doing shit while I'm out here been hustling and racking my brain and being all sad boy Susan. Sad boy Susan. What's up, Susan? Yeah. So, I'm not all that, but I thought I was. And the money started to come in. And all the external things started telling me that I was the shit. And if they weren't thinking that I was a shit, that's okay. I was like Kanye. I don't need your pussy, bitch. I'll suck my own dick. I was like, I am. I'd go to these conferences and I'd be the number one rated speaker. The first time I spoke, the organizer of the conference asked me back before I even got fully off the stage. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I go in the speaker room and I'm like, all right, guys, next year. I can't wait to see y'all. And they're all like, yeah, we'll find out in a couple of weeks if we get invited back or not. And I'm like, oh, okay. And instead of being humble, instead of using those gifts for, man, I'm acting like I'm the fucking, like there's a difference between Batman and Robin. Look, I fucked up, all right? I never had money before. I did a lot of good with it. I paid off a house. Turns out that was a mistake. That went to the leprechaun over in fucking Ireland. It turns out being debt-free is real attractive to piece of shit scumbag lawyers and incompetent judges in Lubbock, Texas, who allegedly, this is just alleged, no truth to any of these. Please do your own research. But allegedly, taking turns deep throating each other's cocks and seeing who can get down the deepest. Allegedly. Don't know that to be true. Please do not consider that factual in any way. This is a parody. This is a humor-based podcast, not for entertainment purposes only, not for information. Also, I have nothing left. You've picked my carcass clean. But you can always come back and tongue my asshole whenever you want to. Who loves you, baby? Anyway, where was I? Oh, being humble. Yes. I was not humble. And then I started making money, and I thought, I make money. I don't have to deal with the bullshit of life. I started getting away from the things that I did not enjoy in life. That was a huge mistake. Okay? Because not only was I not dealing with mistakes, right? When mistakes happened or life happened, I would get really upset about it. I would lose my shit if, we had a huge water leak in the house versus, peanut butter being left on a butter knife. I just had no problems, had to create problems type thing. You know what I'm saying? People are like, no, Tim, I don't know what you're saying. Okay, you make a bunch of money, right? So you think, okay, this money is going to fucking fix all these problems that I have in life. Everything I hate about my fucking life is going to go away because of money. So you start putting money, and money does take away some of your problems, but it doesn't fix that hole inside of you. And it doesn't fix that damage that's at the foundation. Sure, you can put a shiny new coat of paint on something, but eventually the cracks are going to show again, motherfucker, because that's what they do. Until you heal, until you work through that shit. That's why you keep doing shit unconsciously in your life, and it keeps having the same effect. And you go, well, damn, every time I try to do X, Y happens. You try it 5 different times, but you never stop and go, well, wait a minute, what the fuck is Y? And also, what's the only consistent in all of this? It's me. And again, then you got to go through therapy, then you got to work on your shit, and that's heavy shit. That's a lot harder than just putting a fresh painted coat. Fresh painted coat, really? Fresh coat of paint. You illiterate fuck. And that's what I was doing, putting new coats. Lifestyle blow up. Hey, never been out of, overseas. Now we're going for a weeks at a time, living the biggie dreams, blowing money, buying a new house, just sucking my own dick amazingly well. I mean, just deep, if you looked into my eyes, you could see how many dance recitals my dad missed, in childhood. I mean, it's not good. I didn't know, though. Everyone was telling me. Not everyone. No, that's not true. There were signs. You think my wife didn't, just one day was like, hey, peace out, motherfucker? Or do you think she tried to work on something repetitively with me, and when she thought, this guy's just not going to fucking get it, this is the only option I have is to get myself out of the situation. And the only way I know how to do that is by abandoning my marriage, because I can't even talk to him about this because I don't think it will result in a cordial conversation. And she pieced out the one night a week I was out of the house. And it wasn't until then that I had to really stop and go, shit, okay, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe instead of pointing that finger outward, maybe we should turn this bad boy around and just look at us and what we bring to the table and what we can control. And we. So another form of narcissism in terms of trying to get healthy, but a good focus on yourself where you're like, I'm trying not to be this person anymore. Let me understand that I cause a wake. Let me understand that not everybody loved the old me. Most of them tolerated it and loved me despite who I was, not because of who I was. And that people aren't out to fucking harm me. And most people don't think about me at all because they're too busy thinking about themselves like we all are. We're all in our own heads about our own fucking problems. We don't think about someone else. But yet all we can think about is, well, what's someone else going to think about me? I sure hope everybody likes me. Get the fuck over that. Get the fuck over that. Because whatever they don't like you for probably has nothing to do with you, or very rarely has anything to do with you. Now, the only exception is if you keep running into the same situations, you know. Man, I only date girls for about 90 days. Well, what the fuck happens in that 90 days? Where's the break? Is it you? Okay. So, going back to our question, doing our Oprah session, right? This was my response. Some people get bad information as a child and as a result act the same as an adult. Also, narcissistic people rarely see outside themselves. It wasn't until my wife left that I was like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't do this shit. So let's talk about this, right? This is the hardest part of fucking therapy for me, is to look inward and look at your inner child and then just love that child and give it all the reassurance that you didn't get. Tell them it's going to be okay instead of yelling at them like your parents did. Now, somewhere along the line in my youth, I quickly discovered that when you fucked up at my parents' house, that had severe consequences. Physical on my father's side, emotional on my mother's side. You know, I saw my mom excommunicate my two half-sisters while I was a young teenager. So when she was like, you're not going to talk to them, I was like, yes, ma'am, because I'm not about to get fucking excommunicated. I remember one of them went to get married. I asked some questions about going to the wedding. Next thing you know, she's like, hey, I got your bags packed. You're getting the fuck out of my house. And it's like, whoa. I was just asking what was for dinner, Mom. And if we could have, fish sticks instead of lasagna, because I'm sick of lasagna. And you're like, nope, get the fuck out. You're like, well, wait, hold on. What, huh? So I took that shit with me as an adult. And that's why when everyone fucked up around me, it was a big deal because, oh shit, we're going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. And I would freak out and overreact. If we leave a butter knife with fucking peanut butter on the end of it, Mom's going to get upset. And then if we do that too often, then she's going to kick us the fuck out. If we, whatever. It was always like, oh shit, we're in trouble. I mean, there are times where I have to stop myself and remind myself, hey, I've hired the Uber driver, so if I'm a minute late, it's going to be okay because I'm paying for that. Now, I wish I could say, oh man, yeah, this pendulum swung, and it did. It swung to the ego size, and everyone, I mean, everything was going great until it wasn't. And it was all self-inflicted. And look, at the core of things, me and my ex are different people. We would not have made it long term. That whole opposites attract thing, I'm starting to think maybe that's bullshit based on an 0-2 record. It may attract initially, but it divides eventually, especially when those things that are differentiators, like let's say religion. She's a big fan of Jesus. You don't ever want to go. That's a big valley to cross, my friend, and it's going to require one of you to sacrifice your ultimate goal and be okay with and non-resentful of the smaller accomplishment. So maybe I don't go to church every week with you, but twice a month I'll go with you, Okay, well, it's not every week, but at least it's something. And to generally be happy with that and not be resentful. I can't be mad that I have to go twice a week, and you can't be mad, twice a month, and you can't be mad that I'm only going twice a month. Guys, I'm just giving you what therapy has given me. I'm just giving you these lessons. So everything to me was a huge deal, and I made it. Everything was a 10. And that's fucking annoying, and it wears you down. It's uncomfortable. It's uncommon. I mean, no shit, my wife left. No shit, my staff left. No shit, I get it. Part of it. It's not 100-0, but I get my part, and that's all I can do. And I can't change the past, although I'd love to. So all I can do is take these lessons that I've learned, be grateful that I've learned them, so I'm not hopefully repeating these mistakes as often in the future, and then apply it to future relationships. That's all I can do. I fucked up things with my ex-wife. I fucked up things with my ex-girlfriend. I fucked up things with my friend not named Andy. I fucked up good relationships. I fucked up, good partnership. I mean, I've fucked up a ton. At least I feel like I have. I feel like I fucked up more than most. And as a result of all that, I'm hopeful that I've learned something from all these stove touching incidents. And more than that, that I won't repeat the mistakes as often in the future. Now, I'm not going to say never again because, dude, who fucking knows? Also, if you say never again and you do it again, then it's like, well, I'm a big giant piece of shit. I said I wouldn't. I said I did cocaine every day for my life for 5 years, but then I said I would never touch it again, and I did, and now I'm a worthless piece of shit for the rest of my life. Instead of going like, hey, you know what? Last year, I was coked out of my mind 500 days out of the year. Not even 500 days, you know what I mean? Every day of the year. This year, I'm at 50%. Instead of being upset that you only reduced it by 50%, be proud that at least you did something. Every step in the positive direction is a step in the right direction. How's that for your after-school special? Keep track of the steps we take, not the ones we miss or the ones we didn't. So, then I got a bunch of fucking questions back. And these we're going to answer in real time. I've not looked at these questions, so you'll get my replies. So basically, I told her that, and then she wrote me back this list of 20 questions, which really isn't 20. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Looking back, did she, this being my ex-wife, communicate these things before leaving? Here's the problem with me. In highly emotional incidents, my brain does not record well. It just doesn't. So it's hard for me to say with 100% certainty. Also, it goes without saying, as I make a shitload of noise in the background that hopefully you can't hear. This is my opinion of our relationship through my eyes and my filters. It should not be considered factual or the 100% truth. It's just my take on things. I'm sure there's things where she sees it as day and I see it as night, and I'll leave it at that. How about that? Looking back, yes, I'm sure she did try to communicate those things. We had a big blow up in therapy the week before, and I think that was the breaking point because I still wasn't getting it after basically getting yelled at by her and my therapist. And I went into shell reactionary, oh shit, there's trouble. Let me get it off of me so I don't have to be punished and I won't be, abandoned or left alone or, anything like that, disowned. So yeah, I think she probably did communicate those things before leaving, but I wasn't seeing them. See, in therapy was like, well, let's look at all your problems. Let's fix all you, then we'll worry about me. I thought I was a fucking finished piece of art, I mean, look at me. I'm 50 pounds lighter than I was now. Still fat, but not as fat as I fucking am now. I was making 6 figures a year. We were debt-free except for the house and the cars. We had gone on vacation for an entire month the year before. All the external things I thought, business was growing. I had a fancy bookkeeper. I had staff. We had staff meetings. I mean, we had TPS reports. I mean, we were fucking doing it, folks. We were hitting all the boxes that life tells you you're supposed to do. Considering an office space, maybe we go remote. Do we have international workers, et cetera, et cetera. So I think I'm fucking killing it. Yeah, sure, maybe I'm not emotionally available over here. Yeah, sure, maybe I'm not. Yeah. But look, I know I'm getting an F in that one area, but look at this area, I'm getting an A+. So if we combine them, it must mean that we're at a B, right? Well, here's another failing area. I sweep that under the rug, sweep it under the rug, sweep, not a big deal, not a big deal. Hey, it'd be really nice if you didn't, bring weed into the house. Don't listen, do what I want to fucking do. Hey, it'd be really nice if, you stayed home a couple nights a week. Don't listen. Hey, it'd be really nice if you came to church, all those things. When I would make requests of her, she would do them for the most part. Hey, I need you to cut back on work. I need you to cut back on X. I need you to cut back on Y. I need you, she would make a gallant attempt and I would make a gallant excuse. And to be clear, I did not know this shit during the time. Okay, this is me looking back, over 5 years ago, with a ton of intensive therapy, a lot more work on myself. The last 2 years without a relationship to really focus on myself and get this shit let's dig these fucking scars up and figure out what's going on. Let's do what we need to do. So while it may seem like, I got it all figured out now, I assure you, I did not have it figured out then, and I don't claim to have it figured out now. This is just my best guess because I can't go back and change the past. And that's the hard thing, because I would love to take this information back and change it, but ultimately what it doesn't change is at the end of the day, my ex-wife and I were totally different people. And that marriage, I have to understand, doesn't carry that same stigma of divorce like it used to before. Like my grandmother's age, if you got divorced once, it was like, he must have done some horrifically terrible things. Whereas if you do it today, it must be like, they had one good fight and they separated. So that's all my bullshit, not theirs. It's just all that good stuff. So yeah, she did communicate, right? Or was her communication not clear? No, her communication was clear. I just thought I was above it. I just honestly, I'm not proud of the person I was. I look back on that. That's why I think I'm so gun shy today. I'm like, I don't want that person to reappear in my life ever again. It's like, it's good to have an ego and it's good to be driven, but to be a megalomaniac and a narcissist and all about you and not really take the other person's feelings and thoughts and considerations into your decision making, that's kind of shitty. That's kind of shitty, my opinion. So I think her communication style was clear. I think I just wasn't at a point to listen. And after she left and the manner in which she left and all that and everything that happened, which I've done to death in other podcasts, I couldn't hear. I was so angry and so upset. I mean, even today, I would still probably be angry at a certain point and not be able to absorb the information that I was given. I'm sure she told me a million times why she left, but I couldn't tell you any of them right now. I know that she ultimately didn't want to get divorced, but the damage was already done. And really, I was, thinking of my friend's family and my parents, and how would they ever be able to forgive this from happening and, causing issues and just being, It's like, no, we Humpty Dumpty this bitch. This is the egg that fell off and cracked, and we can't put it back together again, unfortunately. And I'm sure some of that was ego, too, with me. Of like, I'm not going to give up on all my shit and just accept you back. Well, how will other people look at me? Like, dude, didn't your wife leave you? Didn't she take half the money? Didn't she hire an attorney? Blah, 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 blah. And instead of being man enough to be like, yes, she did, but we worked it out. We're back together. I was like, nope, you're right. That one decision deserves to have life-altering consequences. And again, ultimately, I think we'd be here regardless in terms of being divorced. We just wouldn't have all the trauma of the way it happened. It's a very therapy way of saying it. Did you just not take her seriously? Yeah, again, I thought, hey, man, I'm getting an A+ over here in this money business thing. People like me. I'm important. People pay to come hear me speak, blah, blah, blah. What are you talking about? I'm a fucking rocket ship. You should be holding on and grateful for these specks of stardust that are coming your way as I'm flying through the skies. Like I said, not a fun dude. No wonder I didn't have a lot of people that really liked me. They tolerated me because they saw the person I really was instead of the person that, not that I was pretending to be, but they were like, man, when Tim's at a 2, we really like him. When he's at a 10, maybe not so much. And the problem is Tim, when he goes out, likes to be at a 10 and, he thinks that's who he is and what defines him. Instead of realizing, nothing defines you because you've fucking done nothing, mate. You've just, I love how I want to tie in there. No, it's just defines you. Bitch, people don't even know who you are. You got to keep working. Defined you. I think my genre should be get to fucking work. She also asked if I didn't care. I think towards the end I was kind of over it, especially because we were having repeated issues over the same thing. And it was like, all right, well, we all know how this shit goes. We improve for a little bit, then we don't, then we got an issue again, then we fight about it again, and then we start using always and never words, Then we start looking outside the relationship for our relationship needs, and things get bad, then you get, nah. So, look, man, as I move this, sorry, and adjust this just a little bit, just for me, excuse me. I fucked that up. I thought because I was getting an A in one area that I could make up for the F's in all those others. That I didn't have to take my wife's thoughts, opinions, and ideas super seriously because I was doing so well in this. And I was the head of the household and all, it just was ego. I'm perfect, you're not, let's fix you, then we'll worry about, then we'll make the minor adjustments. And it turns out that I'm the one that had cracks and flaws all the way through and should have been torn down, years ago. And now I'm having to do it in my late 30s and early 40s. Fun time. Really exciting time to be single. Nothing that gets the girls, vajayjays, wetter than a 42-year-old single fat guy. I had to have my Tinder rewritten by a former fling of mine. A girlfriend, sure, yeah. Great lady. Mom now, 2 beautiful kids, husband, super happy. Always has nice things to say about me and my penis, which, I always appreciate the positive reinforcement. I had to have her rewrite my Tinder profile because the other one just wasn't working. I reached out to another old flame who, when she needs me, reached out. But when I needed her, I got the old, the number you've reached has been not that bad. But you get, and that shit hurts, man. That shit hurts. Because I'm like Jack Harlow right now. I'm sensitive when it comes to some of this shit. Well, I'm a shy little boy in emo Tim. And I wish I could have seen those issues and we could have addressed them. And then we could have walked away from this relationship in a lot healthier place and maybe have remained friendly or at least polite with each other. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. I did not handle the breakup well. I lashed out, acted emotionally, and I lost the ability to be in her life forever. And vice versa, her with me. And, that's one of those life lessons where you go, hey, maybe next time we catch a breath, take a pause before we do that. So, yeah, the bottom line is it was me more than it was her. I didn't listen to the warnings. I didn't think they were big enough to justify a response and certainly a change in behavior in a lot of them. I was unresponsive to her needs and concerns. And I was always focused on what we didn't have instead of what we did have. And that shit apparently gets old. Because at the 7-year mark, around that mark is when things went south in a hurry. But now I'm recording this in 2022. I still talked about this shit today in therapy. One of the things I talked about, we all know theft is the comparison of joy. Yeah, I know. But sometimes you got to fucking do it. I've got 2 friends that lost their loved ones to cancer. They're already in great relationships. I'm not. And it's like, holy shit, these people lost a loved one they were married to, grieved that whole process and found somebody else amazing. And they're back in love again. And I'm sitting over here on X Hamster going like, all right, brutal, aggressive, simp videos or whatever. It's life, man. It sucks sometimes. And because my glass half empty, I feel like it definitely sucks. And I also, because and it's something that I'm working on right now, is when I get a new piece of information, and as sad as it is, a lot of it is like common sense shit that wasn't so common to me based on the relationships I saw. See, my mom and my stepdad, whenever I say mom and dad, that's what I mean. Like, they have a great relationship. He dotes on her 24 hours a day. They're within 20 feet of each other, I'd say 90% of every single day. That's what I saw as love. So that's what I tried to emulate. And it turns out that when you're 21 and 22, you don't want to be strapped down to the inside of a house for 23 hours a day like you're in solitary confinement. You might want to go to the gym. You might want to go to church. You might want to have your friends outside our circle group. And instead of being like, that's time away from us, and why am I being a sad little boy about that? Being like, great, if that fits you and completes you, go have a great time. When you get back, I get this fully engaged, amazing woman versus someone that's like, we're going to sit here and watch hockey for the fifth night in a row? Okay. All right, And then her vagina cracks and breaks open because it's so dry and malnourished and not used. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. I mean, I fucked up. And these are things I've learned. And what I'm trying to do is when I learn something new is to give that grace and mercy to myself, to not go back and beat the shit out of myself for something that I cannot change. There is no time machine. I can't take these things back and replace the bad interaction with the good one. If I could, things would be better. But again, ultimately, I think no matter what, we probably would have separated. I don't know, but that's kind of what I think. And I don't mind these interrogation questions. I don't mind sharing. I'm an open book. I just don't want it to be sad boy season all the time. The medication stuff, that's going to take 4 weeks, they say, to kick in. We're keeping an eye on it. I'm about to go on tour with Grady Spencer. I leave here in just a few days. I'm really pumped about that. I've got some really exciting and fun stuff coming up. I just kind of have to go through the dull parts to get to this part. And it fucking sucks, but I don't want to sit here. This ain't an Instagram podcast or this, there's no major publication or publisher behind this. This is real life. I got to get my shit together so I can get my shit together and get work going and doing all these things that I need to do to provide for myself, to really sketch out a new future of what the next 5, 10, 15 years looks like, even if it's abstract, so that one, I know and can remind myself that I'm never at the finish line, right? Sleep when we're dead type thing. But two, I can realize like when I accomplish something, I'm only a few steps in instead of feeling like I'm almost at the end or should consider myself at the end. Because that finish line thinking fucking kills me each and every time. Oop, hit your goal weight, great. Balloon right back up. Oop, do this one thing nice to improve your relationship, great. Stop doing it. And instead of being like, hey, this is just one step on the step of many to get us going. So I'll be working on that. I'd lie to myself and say I'll be doing that on tour. Hopefully I'll be driving a shit ton on tour and connecting with these guys and seeing what the road life is like and seeing what it's like to see these guys outside of Texas and really create that vision. We've been talking back and forth and, ultimately I feel like I'm there to capture the vision that I've been hired for, even though I haven't been hired, but ultimately what he wants, which is going to be more cinematic and not landscapes per se, but visual storytelling without the band having to be in every frame and without having to do like a ton of deep investigative work. There's not going to be a gotcha interview. I'm not going to be trying to record those tears. I'm not going to, surprise him with a long lost brother he didn't know or whatever. It's just like, hey man, like if you want a beautiful look, then we'll accomplish it the way you want to get it done, because that's ultimately what I feel like we need to do. And also, this is my first time doing it, so I don't feel confident enough to stand up and say, hey, this is my style, and no, I'm not going to do what you want. I'm going to record it the way that I do it. Eventually, I think that I'll get there, but it's going to take some fucking time, for sure, especially with me. I'll be like, let me figure this out. Let me try it 100 fucking times for free. Then let me charge an obscenely low amount, feel guilty about doing that, then raise the rates again, praying that people won't hate me, and then raise them one more time before I'm sure certain death is going to await me for floundering our customers or flogging our customers, just basically taking every dollar they have. Whereas, if it was Dan Kennedy, he's like, all right, well, wait, they got $6 more on credit. Cool, raise the price of that $6 more so we can make sure we get every dollar and every drop. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. It's just a difference of opinion. As Jason Fladon explained to us, one of the funnel hackings, hey man, you don't have to make all the money. You can make as little as you want. You don't have to do all the right things to make all of it. You can do as little as you want and make as little as you want, as little as you feel comfortable. Talk about a fucking ouch, right? The good news is, apparently with this new medication, this weed is fucking hitting, which is great. It's helped me forget my childhood, which is even better. But it makes me a little more space cadet than usual. So I apologize if I feel like we're in a good place. By we, I mean I feel like I'm in a good place. Feel like we're working on our stuff. Got the medication stuff going, got some fun events coming up, and have some fun things to share with you in the background. Some work is getting accomplished, although not nearly as much and as long as I'd like it to, but does it ever? And that was it, by the way. Those were all the questions they have. If you have more questions, you can always hit me up on the podcast, and I can answer them if I feel like it. If you take nothing away from today, just remember therapy is a good thing. If you find yourself in repeating situations, therapy may be something that's worth talking to somebody. And you don't have to stay with someone you don't like. You can go to anyone and everyone that you're looking to find. So I highly recommend it. I think it gives you valuable advice and skills, not only for yourself, but for others around you. And hopefully with every passing year, with every increase in tools, you're able to look at past situations in a healthier, non-emotional way than just being emotionally charged all the time. But what the hell do I know? So thank you to the state of California for this bomb-ass chronic. I'm going to go take a nap now. I feel emotionally drained. I will, as always, try to do better next time. Next time I hit record, should be back from the tour. Might even be over in jolly old, well, I'll tell you next time. I think I already told you guys. We're going to London. So might be over under Big Ben. We shall see.